Tomorrow, President Biden and Vice President Harris will be in Atlanta to make the case for voting rights legislation. But a coalition of voting rights groups in Georgia say unless the White House actually has a plan, they should skip the visit. Inse Ufat is the CEO of one of those groups, the New Georgia Project. Well, what exactly would you like to see in a plan?
I would like to see, one, an acknowledgement that the GOP is no longer a legitimate partner in anything that would remotely resemble bipartisanship, that they are, in fact, a criminal caucus that poorly executed a plan to kill the Vice President of the United States and stop the electoral vote from happening, and that they need to carve out the filibuster.
Well, I bring up those specific provisions because Republicans are arguing that studies have shown that voting laws don't actually suppress turnout. And many of these ideas that we just cited are focused on preventing voter suppression. Republicans argue that voting laws still do not suppress turnout. People still show up. So what do you make of that response, the suggestion that maybe your side is overstating the problem? What would you say to that?
I would say that the same party that voted, nearly 200 of its members voted to not certify the election because they don't believe that Joe Biden is a legitimate president of the United States, and that there were members of its leadership that were a part of a murder plot to kill the vice president of the United States, and that they oversaw an insurrection where people flung feces inside the People's House, don't get to tell me what is and isn't voter suppression because they aren't legitimate actors, and they certainly aren't legitimate leaders or statespersons. And so any attempt to give them credibility or to give their statements credibility is just giving them a pass while our country's democracy is being attacked in front of our very faces.